start the pledge of allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call to order roll call, starting on my right.
Councilperson Brent Byer.
Councilperson Dick Updegraff.
Mayor Jimmy John King.
Councilperson Craig Anderson.
Councilperson Jeremiah Olson.
Looking for approval of tonight's agenda. Any additions?
Yes, I'd like to amend the agenda to include item F, which is going to be a resolution dedicating land for a city street.
Okay. Anything else from up here? Hearing none, we have a motion to approve the amended agenda.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. That'll take us to approval of council meeting minutes of July 10th, 2018. Read through them, see if you need anything explained or changed.
Make a motion to approve minutes.
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
We got a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. That takes us to finance and budget. Accounts payable, and then there's the additional payable listing on there. Any questions, please direct them to Finance Director Newbauer.
Barb, I have a quick question on that Fairway Foods final tax abatement, it says. So that's it then, as far
We're
as
done.
returning their taxes back, or? Okay,
Taxes will come back.
cool.
They, as a matter of fact, it was 2 years early because we had a maximum that they could be paid, and because of the taxes and that they paid them, there was, we reached that maximum this year. So everything will be back on the schedule.
Did you get it on the SEH? For 39,000? Is there a breakdown for that, or?
The SCH bill, yeah, it's about 4 different things. When you look at the different, the attachment, it'll show the different places that check went to.
I see.
But I can give you a breakdown if you want, real quick.
Come on, Barb, give it to you.
Yeah, if you can do it real quick.
Okay.
Twins are on right now, so.
It went to, some of it was general, $231 was general. The CIP project for 17, $526. A little bit in sewer, $127. We did $2,160 for a feasibility study. Another $2,200 for the 17 project. A pass-through of $3,000 to Schumann. $11,338 for the 19 project for the feasibility study that she was given to last week, and another $19,474 for the CIP 18 project.
So is that for a month? For the month?
That was for the month. You have to remember all our projects are we're working on projects right now. It's not that every month, but during the summer months it gets pretty high.
This power pole repair, the one right down here.
Excuse me?
This repair street pole hit on 11, is that the one right down here? Which one's that?
Up by Bear Cave Intermediate School.
Yeah.
Another one got hit there.
That was in last April, and we did not realize that we were getting a bill, and all of a sudden we got a bill. I did talk to Peoples. We own the pole, they own the light head. That was done on the weekend, and we know who did it. We also know he has insurance, so our insurance agent is working on that one.
It's out here, isn't it? Any other questions on accounts payable? Hearing none, I'd look for a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that carries. That'll take us into general business. Whoops, excuse me. I'm sorry about that, Barb. That gives us the second quarter financial report from Finance Director Newbar.
Yes, In your package, you'll find the second quarter. I'm not asking for any action on this report, it's just to kind of update it. As I've just said in the past, the first and second quarter doesn't really show a whole lot because we don't get our revenues, so a lot of things show a negative balance by the time we get to the end of June. So unless you have specific questions, I won't spend a lot of time on that. What I will tell you is that when you do look at the cash balance sheet, where you see quite a few red, we have, since then, we have received our first half of LGA in the amount of over $400,000, and we've also received our first half of property taxes, about $1 million. So we do have enough to cover all those negative costs. And then with that, though, I do want to mention that I did meet with the Finance Board Committee and talked a little bit about the upcoming 2019 preliminary budget. They have set a council workshop at 5:30 on August 21st. That's a council meeting. We will meet at 5:30 for about an hour. I will have at that time, even before that, you'll get a preliminary budget to start reviewing. If any of you have anything you want included in the budget, anything, let me know and we'll get it all, we'll get everything so it's all inclusive. One of the items that we had talked about is putting money in to the budget for the possibility of a permanent stoplight. We will,
28th, I think it
28th,
was.
okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, the 28th. Yes, the 28th before the council meeting, sorry about that. There is a possibility that we could work with MnDOT in hopes of making what might be a temporary stoplight into a permanent stoplight. So we are wanting to put some money into the 2019 budget if that comes to fruition. And then the other thing you're going to see is some additional monies put in for the CIP project for 2019 in the sidewalk and in the street portion of the budget. So those are some items that we know that we're going to include in this upcoming preliminary budget. So if you have anything else you want to see, let me know sooner than later. So I'd like to get that kind of to you by mid-August. So you have it well ahead of the
Is there
28th.
room for anything else in the budget then?
There'll probably be room for cuts in the budget, but there's some things we're gonna have to add, and then we'll see, then with your priorities, we'll work through it. Okay? And with that, I think that's all I have for you.
If you could, Mayor King, go down and start the public hearing process, and then we'll, since the people are here, one of the representatives are here. And then we'll do Joya, and he was able to get here earlier.
Make Joy wait.
I'm fine.
Yes. All right, under general business, we're gonna start with, we have 3 public hearings to do tonight. The first one will be a public hearing for a property cleanup at 611 Fifth Avenue. Our city attorney sent a letter requesting that Stephen and Trista Bifford clean up their property on June 7th. On July 6th, city attorney notified Biffords that due to non-compliance, a public hearing would be held. So they are given the opportunity to be heard and present evidence on the matter. Okay, so what I'm going to do is...
Mayor King?
Yeah.
The property owner was in, and he is in compliance now. So you don't need to do a public hearing on this one.
All right.
It's there in compliance.
So, no council action will be needed on this one at this time. Okay. Now we'll go right on through. Next one, we're gonna go right down in order then. Public hearing nuisance violation, property cleanup, 306 2nd Street Southeast. Our city attorney once again sent a letter requesting that John Swenson clean up his property, and the Olmsted County Sheriff's Department has issued a ticket for violation in regards to the recliner in the front yard. On the 6th of July, city attorney notified Swenson that due to non-compliance, a public hearing will be held so that they are given the opportunity to be heard and present evidence on the matter. So, we're gonna close the regular meeting. open the public hearing. Public hearing pursuant to City Code Section 610.07 subdivision point 2, the City Council will consider the above described nuisance. The public hearing is your opportunity to be heard on this matter and to present any evidence or arguments believed the City Council should consider regarding the ordinance violations. Do we have any written or oral comments on this one?
We don't. And Mr. Swenson is not in attendance.
Mr. Swenson's not in attendance, and the letter has been sent, so he is,
On your desk, there are pictures that were taken as of today showing that he has not complied with our request to clean up the property. And so we are asking that you adopt the findings of facts that are outlined for you in the RCA and order the abatement of the nuisance, and the city will enter the property to remove the offending items and clean up the property.
and it shall be the responsibility of the property owner to pay the cost of said abatements,
Correct.
including attorney's fee and administrative costs, which will be assessed to the property to be paid with your property taxes. So, close the public hearing. Back to the regular meeting. We need a motion to follow through on this with finding the facts and to have it cleaned up.
Cheryl, is that our staff that cleans it up or we contact?
We'll contract it out.
Okay.
So you've actually spoken face to face with these people and they just refused to?
This gentleman, this has been going on for a number of years, and he will leave us voicemails that are not very nice. And just feels that, number one, his recliner, it's okay to have that out there. And then in the backyard, he hasn't done anything, he just doesn't feel we should be on his property. And I really did expect him to be here tonight because I do know he's been going around town taking pictures of other properties that may not be in compliance, so.
He's got time to take all his pictures, he could have just cleaned up his own and we'd be done.
yeah.
Correct. So, any other questions or discussion on this one?
You said this has been an ongoing thing, year after year after year.
Yeah,
Well, I'll make a motion, we go forward with the cleanup.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That will carry. That'll take us to our third public hearing tonight, property cleanup, 103 3rd Street Southwest. Our city attorney has sent a letter requesting that John and Jamie Hubert clean up their property on June 7th. On July 7th. On July 6th, city attorney notified Huberts that due to the non-compliance, a public hearing will be held so that they're given the opportunity to be heard to present evidence on the matter prior to the city ordering the abatement. So I'll close the regular meeting, open the public hearing. Public hearing notice pursuant to City Code Section 610.07, Subdivision 2. The City Council will consider the above described nuisance. This public hearing is your opportunity to be heard on this matter and to present any evidence or arguments that you believe the City Council should consider regarding the ordinance violations. Any written or oral on this?
no written or oral.
We have the
Pictures are on the table of the property as of this morning, and John and Jamie are in attendance, and they can.
We have the finding of facts in front of us. So, John and Jamie, this is your public hearing, this is your opportunity.
We purchased this property, or took over the contract for deed on this property as of May 1st. And we've been making improvements to the property to help clean up the mess. I'm not rich. I got 5 kids, so it's a struggle, and it's getting there. There is drastic improvement. There's still more work that needs to be done, but I'm making an effort. And clean up. And I have submitted updated photos. They're a week old now, but there is stuff being done every single week. I'm out there. If I'm not at work, I'm out there trying to get something done every day. And I'll continue to make that effort.
These were from this morning.
Yes.
There was massive piles of garbage and brush out there. I cut down several trees around the edge of the property that were in rough shape and up to the bottom of the power lines. I cut them all down, got rid of all that brush. There was a massive pile of stuff I had on the trailer in the driveway that mostly is gotten rid of. There's still a few more things on that trailer that need to get rid of. The riding lawnmowers are all functioning. I use them all the time. As soon as my trailer's empty, I want to get those mowers up on the trailer to get perspective. I don't want my yard to look like a garbage can. So I just want to come and say, I'm making an effort. I know those properties have been a problem in the past, for the past couple of years. And I do whatever I can to get it cleaned up and get it so it's suitable.
Now, what do you mean it's been a problem for the last couple of years?
My sister owned the property, or had the contract for deed prior to me, and she's come in for hearings and whatnot in the past. So I don't know exactly how long. She had the property for, I think, 3 years prior to me taking over the contract for deed.
And when did you take over the contract?
May 1st, 2018. I've been there for not even 3-4 months yet.
3 or 4 months, and this is what it looks like?
Do you have the pictures from 2 months ago from what it looked like?
I don't need pictures from 2 months.
I mean-
If I've asked you, is this what it looked, I mean, this is,
That is what it looks like today, but
This
if you had
is-
seen what it looked like
this
2
is
weeks
terrible.
ago, you would see the improvement that I had made on the property.
I seen
I'm
it,
saying it is still in rough shape and it still needs some work to do.
I
but
seen
I've
it 2
come a
months
long
ago, and
ways.
it looked about like this, 2 months ago.
It looked a lot worse than the pictures you have now, I'm sure of that 2 months ago.
Could be much worse.
Let's say that you were given some more time to do this. How much time would it take you to clean it up and get it respectable?
I'm hoping by the end of next week, honestly.
Would, I don't know if our guy will be there before the end of next week, will he?
It's up to you guys on what you,
No, I mean, even, he has the opportunity before our guy gets there to clean it up. I mean, if our guy's not there for a week, he has the opportunity to
we
do
can
it.
request a date that he goes in to clean it up, if it's not cleaned up.
How come you got 3 mowers? Just
Sure.
for, out of
I run a
curiosity.
lawnmower business on the side. I mow 12 to 15 trailers in the trailer park. I'm constantly driving them back and forth.
Well, you drive them out there?
Yeah.
Well, you can kind of just, when you get it cleaned up, you could park them in a row or something, it'd look a little.
Oh, I was told I can't even have the mowers on the property and I can't have the trailers on the property, but it's okay if I have my lawnmowers parked on the trailer on the property. So
Well,
that's what I was told last week by Cheryl herself.
Well, she's the one that knows the ordinance better than we do, I know that.
I had, that trailer, as of 3 days ago, was piled 6 feet high of stuff to get rid of. I'm making progress.
You just missed an opportunity, I don't know how you missed it, but we had 2 days of free all the way.
I took 2 loads of stuff, full loads of stuff down there on those days. I've taken a total of 5 loads of garbage out of that place that my sister left there.
Obviously, this started by a generated complaint, like you mentioned. We don't just look at them and
Correct.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, this has been going on for a couple of years, so I was under the assumption maybe nobody knew I took over the house, and it was just a continuous nuisance for my sister. I'm not my sister, I'm making it up.
I'm not against, if you actually say you're cleaning up, I mean, I don't have any reason not to believe you. I wouldn't be against a small extension for you, because it doesn't really excite me to have, to pay someone to come in and do it. But I want to give you benefit of the doubt if you're trying to work and raise 5 kids and do all this and try to get it done. But, you got 5 little farmhands there that can get out there and help you pile stuff up too, right? So, I don't know. I mean, if you think that you can do it in a week, I'd be willing to give 2. I mean, but you really gonna have to, you have to work on it here, or else you're gonna end up getting billed for that, right? So,
Yeah, I don't want to be looking like garbage all the time, so.
and I may be the only one that thinks that. I'm just throwing my opinion out there, so.
There was, at the time when I first put all that brush down, I had an 8-foot pile of brush in our yard. We burned. I didn't even know we had a city burn pile out here.
Probably good there wasn't any room out there anyhow.
So, I just burned it all in the fire pit. I've been making improvement. Every week there's at least something that's getting changed. So,
A couple weeks.
I'd
be okay with 2 weeks.
Next council meeting is the 13th, you can get into,
Yeah, that would,
Until the 13th.
15th or whatever it would be.
well, we'd like to do it before our council meeting.
Oh, yeah, true.
Give them to the 11th, that's on the.
So our next council meeting would be well, technically it's supposed to be the second Tuesday in August. But it's actually gonna be the Wednesday because of voting. That, yeah, that would give you a little more than 2 weeks, 3 weeks of vote.
that'd be awesome. That'd be awesome.
All right, well, we're still just talking at a public hearing right now, so it's not done yet, but
And I'll continue to come in and
It's gonna be up to,
communicate with Cheryl.
it'll be to the discretion of Cheryl and Bill when they inspect it. It'll be the way they order it done if we're gonna give you an extension.
Okay.
Even if you don't like putting your mowers on the trailer or whatever, it'll be,
Yeah, I'll do what I got.
you'll be in total compliance. Or at the next meeting, it'll just be ordered and it'll be over with.
Okay.
Well, any other comments during the public?
you have anything else?
I have nothing else.
I'm gonna close the public hearing, open the regular meeting again. Okay, we had a discussion at the public hearing about till August 11th, is that what we said?
I think
August
it's,
15th.
well, we would probably go, let's, like, the 13th, so you can check it the day before the voting, or,
We'd like to know before the council meeting,
And then
make
we
sure
can
it's in
roll on
total
it.
compliance.
does that work for you guys?
August 14th.
Well, are you gonna be busy with stuff on the 14th?
No, Laurel's gonna handle it for me.
Okay, the 14th. I'll make a motion that we grant them an extension until Tuesday, August 14th. And then, I don't know if I have to add in there that it's up to them to,
Well, it'll be the compliance to the satisfaction of,
We'll report back to you,
Staff
and then
report
at
to
that
us.
time you can order the abatement if needed.
all right. All right, so does that motion suffice then?
Yes.
we got a motion, we got a second?
Second.
We got a second, any other discussion or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, I will vote a nay on that one. But it passes anyhow, so you have till
14th of August.
14th of August?
Yep.
Excellent.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome to suffer through the rest of the meeting if you'd like.
I got 12 guys that work right now, I'm supposed to be supervising, so thank you very much for your time, have a good night.
All right, this will take us back under general business. Are we gonna go back to the top, or we're gonna move Joy all the way to the bottom?
So you can do Joy now.
EDA presentation, community survey results. Joya Stetson, CETA representative on the EDA, will be presenting a synopsis of the community survey results for discussion. No action will be required.
Yeah, you can get it really quick right now.
Now you can just do this synopsis.
No, we're kidding.
And all your guys come up weird like that. Your survey come up like
Mine's all in Chinese.
So is mine.
that. But the rest of it you can read, but that, yeah, the
I have
headline.
every header. is different.
Yep, you did.
I don't know
Dick,
why.
what'd you do? Dick, here.
Go up here to 17.
What'd you do, Dick?
We'll be good. We'll be attentive.
Just enlarge it.
Did you see how the headers on this thing came up in these packets?
Did yours come up in Chinese?
Go to like 75.
The what?
Ours came up in
So-
Chinese.
Just, most of it's legible, like, when you get into the.
I think we were hacked, you guys.
Just,
I got Chinese.
No, right here.
all the
Pull up
headers.
to the
I
top.
got Chinese. I seen it on it this afternoon.
I don't know what to do.
Did it come up on that?
I didn't understand Chinese.
I need a new computer that comes with Viking season tickets.
No, Bill's is right.
Wonder if this is something to do with the tariffs with China or something? They get into our computers?
Yep, there's
All
some
right,
sort of provision.
let's go.
All right, my name is Joy Stetson. I work with CETA. I have been working diligently with the Economic Development Authority on putting together some community input information. So this is something that we have done because our EDA has prioritized understanding what citizen needs are and ensuring that the programs that we're creating and the projects that we're supporting are within the parameters of what our population wants to see happen within the city. So I just want to talk a little bit about how we went about doing this study for those of you that haven't been involved. I know there's a few of you that have heard this presentation a few different times now. But I do think that it's important to understand the methodology behind what we're doing and why it's valid. We produced initially a survey that was distributed to our population. It consisted of 10 quantitative multiple choice Likert scale questions and 5 qualitative short answer clarifying questions. We put this together and distributed it through Google Forms. So we pushed it out through our opt-in email system. We sent it out on social media. The city currently has channels on LinkedIn, we have a Twitter, we have a Facebook, and now an Instagram. So it's pushed out on all of those. And we also did deliver some paper survey copies as well for those populations that did not have access. We delivered survey copies over to the Center for Active Adults, the library, and made copies available at City Hall as well. We received 373 responses of our population, which was calculated through the state demographer's office as 6,269. So with that, we have a 100% power calculation, which basically states that we can detect a 1-point difference in our Likert scale responses with a standard deviation of 1. Ultimately, what that means is that the number of responses that we had received in this survey was sufficient to ensure that this survey was sound data, that it's representative of our population in the city of Stewartville. We also made sure that the internal validity was something we were focusing on. Internal validity basically means that we were asking the same question in different ways and we were still getting the same responses back. So that was again showcasing that the data that we're receiving from our population and sample is something that's indicative of what the people are actually believing, that our questions made sense. We also collected the data through Google Forms as well. We put that electronically together, and the surveys that we did receive by paper, we actually entered into the system itself. The analysis that we did on the survey was qualitative and quantitative. With the short answer clarifying questions, we took care to categorize and note the responses for the people that had provided those. The people that responded, again, we received 373 responses, which is a great response number for us. We've conducted surveys in the past, and this is, I believe, the best response that we have received. So we were very happy to see that. I think our population really wants to take a vested interest in what happens in our community, and I think we were very happy with how that turned out. The respondents that we did receive this information from, a couple things I just want to note on that, is that the majority of them have worked here either between 1 to 5 years or 20 plus years were the biggest categories. The other thing that I think is important to mention here as well is that most of the responses that we received were from age groups between 25 to 44. So those two age brackets made up actually 69.7% of the individuals that responded to this survey. So one of the things that we did bring up too is that we wanted to understand why people choose to live in the city of Stewartville. And one of the reasons behind that is I think it really helps us to market our community. It helps us to understand what it is that we need to be explaining to people about why Stewartville is a great place to be. A couple of things that kind of came out as standout figures for why people live in the city were convenient location, school district, and the fact that people had grown up within the community were the biggest responses that we did see. Another thing that we focused on was quality of life. And this is something that I actually think was very interesting about the survey results, is that what we saw was that the majority of people are actually very happy with their quality of life. So 81.5% said that they experienced good to very good quality of life within the city of Stewartville. So the bulk of the population is really happy with what they're seeing. The mean response was a 4. So on a Likert scale of 1 to 5, they said that they were satisfied with their quality of life in Stewartville. Most of the people said that this was because of the friendliness that they experienced in the community, that there's low crime rates, that it's a great location, and we have a wonderful school district. A couple things that were brought out as ways to improve people's quality of life or things that could negatively be impacting that is they would like to see improved or more diversity and inclusion and more affordable and accessible housing for different populations. For amenities and assets, we actually produced weighted averages, and we calculated out how people felt about a variety of different amenities within the community. We wanted to understand what it is that people like about the city and if there are things that we could be improving upon, what those things are. So one of the things that we noticed right away is that parks and recreation and open spaces were something that were a standout figure. A big majority, 61.7%, actually stated that was the amenity that they were most proud of, or the best asset that the community has to offer. In rankings, the people had actually noted that there were a few different categories that received a 4. Those categories were parks, the library, and the aquatic center. Those were the highest ranking amenities within the survey. A couple things I think are worth mentioning is a few things people felt like could use improvement were the entertainment options. So that was a weighted average of 2.3. The downtown, which was rated an average of 2.8, and the availability of housing at 2.9. It's also significant to note that one thing that was brought up with regard to people's quality of life as well was that they would like to see more access to additional food options. And this was also echoed in the supplemental research focus groups that we conducted as well. So with community engagement, one of the things that we also wanted to talk about was the communication that our boards and our city staff are having with our public. And one thing that we were very happy to see is that only 8.8 noted that they were dissatisfied or very dissatisfied with communication with the city. 58.7% stated that they felt satisfied to very satisfied. So I think that that's a very good thing for us. You'll note on the slide that we did see that 85.5% of individuals noted in the survey that they do follow the city on social media. I think that this is really crucial for us to understand because we are seeing more people getting their information from social media. So one thing that the city has done is Angelique works very hard on ensuring that that information is pushed out on different channels. So she is we did communicate with her that the majority of people are actually receiving their information from social media first. So about 50% or 49.3% of people said that that is actually the first place that they go to get their information about city news. They also go to the city website, and also the local newspaper were big categories as well. Another thing that's just worth mentioning is that we did talk a little bit about additional content that people would like to see within the city's social media presence. And one thing that was brought up was the city does have a calendar for events on our website, and they would just like to see more promotion of that calendar and additional events added. So we wanted to make sure to give you guys that information. In terms of future growth, the most important category that people stated that they wanted to focus on in the coming years was commercial and retail development. So the commercial and retail development category was selected by 32.4% of individuals, but within the commentary clarifying sections, one thing that was brought up is that it is very difficult for people to choose. So I think it is worth mentioning that that was followed very closely by residential housing and entertainment options at 24.1% and 23.1% respectively. Additional food options were brought up again as something that people would like to see focused on in the coming years. The respondents also explicitly named business attraction as something that was very important to them. So that can include retail and those food options that we talked about too. So I mentioned supplemental research, and I guess one of the questions that we get is why add supplemental research in there, and I think there's a couple of reasons. One, I think with focus groups, you do receive a lot more in-depth information that can be different and more clarifying than what the surveys are. But also, one thing that we noticed with those surveys is, as we mentioned in the beginning of this presentation, the majority of those survey responses were received from individuals that were in that 25 to 44 age brackets. So we did want to make a concerted effort to be talking with all of the demographic populations that we possibly could, so that we can make sure our information is good. So we talked with 8th grade students, we talked with the economics class of high school seniors, We also conducted a community-wide input session in addition to speaking with the Center for Active Adults. So we'll go into a couple of those. Just a few items on the 8th grade class that we talked with. We actually sat down and we broke the kids up into groups of around 10. And we had conversations with them about what they like about their community today and what they would like to see happen in the future. A few things that I think are noteworthy of bringing up, the 8th graders talked a lot about, they want to learn about their local businesses. There are local businesses that they are very proud of within our community, but there's many that they weren't even aware existed, but they were very interested in what those businesses were doing. Along those same lines, they are very interested in the history of the community, and that was something that they would like to see more information on as well. They talked a lot about the trails and walkability. A lot of these kids do want to get outside and utilize the trails. Food options came up again, including restaurants and farmers markets with fruits and vegetable access. Recreation was big. A lot of them wanted to do more fishing and tubing, but brought up the fact that potentially there could be barriers to accessing that, and so they would like to maybe see some rental equipment to be able to take advantage of that. One idea that we were very impressed with as well is that a lot of them brought up the lighting of trails and parks for safety, and that's something that they would like to see more of so that they can utilize those amenities. We also talked to the high school seniors. This is an example of the template that was provided to them. We helped them with being able to structure a project, and what we did is we asked them to create a project that could potentially benefit the community as a whole. So we broke out different categories, such as, it's hard to see from there, but project title, estimated cost, steps to implementation, project description, and funding options as well. And we weren't sure what to expect, but we were very, very impressed with the responses that we got back. We talked with about 10 groups of students. Once they had their PowerPoints put together, we did work with them as consultants to provide input on their projects and help them with some guidance to make them even better. Out of the 10 groups, 6 voluntarily did present to the EDA board. They did receive extra credit, but we were very impressed by that because they came forward and they gave their presentations to a board of people that they didn't really know. I thought that their projects were definitely something that were well thought out, and I think the kids articulated themselves very well. Some of the things that they brought up are the creation of a lake, rental equipment for things like tubing and fishing, lighting in the parks and trails, and a city center build out for things like music and farmers markets and shopping. We also, community-wide input session, Stephanie Lawson worked on making sure that we could create a session that would allow all of our community to come together and talk a little bit about what these needs might be. Whether these were individuals that answered the survey or weren't able to answer the survey, we wanted to have some in-depth discussions to learn more. So some categories that came out of that session was housing. They want to see different levels, and there were other things that came up about that when people are looking for homes, a lot of times they are looking for something that's already constructed. So ensuring that we have the type of housing that people want at that moment. It was noted that the city would like to see some best practice research on how to incent housing. Downtown was also discussed. They would like to see some design standards developed and enforced, including signage. They looked at downtown parks and the addition of green spaces as well. They'd like to see more signage or wayfinding signs to access the amenities. A couple other things that were brought up are stoplights, safety, and again, food options, addition of those food options as well. Finally, we spoke with the Center for Active Adults. That is, I'm sure you guys are all familiar, but it's available for individuals that are age 55 plus, and we did have conversations with their members and had lunch with them to talk a little bit about some of the things that they were finding. Bill and I had some great conversations with them. I think that they were very forthcoming, and I think that they were very thoughtful in their responses. Some of the things that they brought up were more food options. They noted especially on Mondays and Sundays after church. Fruits and vegetable access or farmers markets, especially farmers markets that were covered. More retail options, an indoor swimming pool. Some actually mentioned that they would like to utilize the trails more, but they would like to maybe see some maps delivered over to the Center for Active Adults so that they could know where those trails are located. So we are going to make sure that they do get some of those. And then also dealing with speeding. So they mentioned adding blinking speed reminder signs, which the city is investigating, and adding drive like your child lives here signs as well. So the next steps that I think are important for us to make sure you guys are aware of is sharing this data with boards and organizations like you, and then reviewing this information to ensure that we're being consistent and that we are adhering to the projects that make sense for our community and what our community members want to see in the future. And then regular reporting. This is something that the EDA board had a great conversation about, and something that we are going to be diligent about going forward, is making sure that this data that was gathered and carefully compiled is something that we are utilizing and that we can keep track of the progress that we're making. And that's it. Do you guys have any questions for me?
I know at the EDA, we had some discussion the other night about moving forward on some of these things and how are we gonna show that we're moving forward, and so that people that participated know something's happening. I noticed here, part of your presentation where it's saying now that, which is impressive to me, it's growing up every day, but 72.6% use our social media for information. And of that 72%, 46% would like to see the city event calendar updated more. And I know when we went through the rebuild of our website, that was one thing. The previous councils, a couple of them were pretty adamant about this event calendar. That's one thing we need to go back and look at again, I guess, and make sure that it is being done and used the way we kind of thought it was going to be, where other people could also, so they knew if they're looking a year out, the chamber would know that the Bear Cave event's coming up from the foundation, so they don't plan something. I mean, that's how at one time we thought we were gonna let other groups alert us to their things in the future, which I think is what part of what this response is about. I would say they'd like more updates about what's happening at all the different places.
Yeah, because we had originally, when we got it set up, we were pretty conservative. We just were getting out the message on city events, because we were trying to deal with, hey, how do you tackle everyone's private events?
Well,
Or, I mean, chambers more.
I understand that, but now
Yeah.
this is one easy, small piece that we can show that we are taking their requests and putting them into action.
Yeah, we have been starting to put them on.
Because I'd like to see more of, get it out there so the JCs know that they can, hey, or not, excuse me, not JCs, the chamber. Well, Al is the face of the
Al is the face
JCs.
of the JCs.
He's the face of the JCs sitting right there when they're in action. He's Mr. Chamber now. But you know what I'm getting at. As long as that's one of the things they're requesting, that's an easy one that ain't gonna cost us a ton of money to do, that we can take care of.
We've sort of thought about trying to come up with like a request form or something,
Yep.
so if somebody has something, then fill it out, and then we would look at
Yep.
it and then.
I know, and we need to keep moving forward on that. I mean, not just keep talking about, we need to move forward, because it's, well, we had a couple of people on the EDA that were pretty adamant the other night that this gets used, not just filed away and forget about it. So that's something we can work on. Anybody else in the council, any comments or questions, or? I know Alexander participated in one of the programs. Yep.
He did.
Yep. He was one of the ones we surveyed.
And I think that that's a good point, though, to make, because part of the reason that we did outreach to the schools was, yes, to gather that information, but also to ensure that these populations were aware that we know that our meetings are public. But, you know, a lot of times people don't know that they can attend these meetings and they can speak up if they have ideas, and that we will listen.
Joy, I know we've been working on this for a while, but for us to get a fast food, we've worked on that for,
Yep.
seems like a long time, you know, and it's still we don't get any results. And
Right.
I see surrounding communities that maybe have two of them, and we don't have any. I shouldn't say any, we got the Dairy Queen, which
Right.
is fast food, so
So one thing I would say back to that is that, you know, each community has its own challenges, and I think that, you know, what happens in one community isn't directly applicable to another. And with this, I think the great thing with this data is that we can show that a significant portion of the population does want to see some more fast food options, that they really like what they have available in town, but they just want to see more. And so having that data available for individuals that are looking at potentially going into starting something like that, I think is a good thing for them. It's great for their business plan. It's great for them to understand as a piece of that conversation that there is a need there, there's a desire for that service. So, I mean, I think that that data will serve that purpose, but in addition to that too, you know, I think that understanding that there is a huge cost that's associated with those projects, and we always want to see any project that moves forward be sustainable. And so we want to make sure that people are taking that risk cognizantly and that, you know, we're helping them every step that we can along the way. And we will continue to try to work towards these goals.
Well, we're still always at the mercy of the franchise too. I mean,
Right.
if they don't wanna put one here, they're not gonna put one
Well,
here.
and remember, we all test at such high fitness levels that fast food joints aren't into that.
So do you guys contact franchises then? That's how you guys do it?
Repeatedly.
Yeah.
Constantly.
We've done personal letters, personal phone calls to them, and some of them have very strict standards.
Yeah.
Just to give you a couple examples, some want to see, I'll give one example, it's one of the bigger names out there, 60,000 cars per day they want to see go by where a potential store could be. Another one we've seen that is a challenge is the franchise fee, like the mayor pointed out. One company out there wants like $250,000 straight license fee, and then you have to show like 3 years of liquidity in your assets to carry you through as you're getting through. Well, not everybody has that capability. So those are things that are actually beyond the city's control. But like Joya said, we'll certainly use this in the marketing of our city, saying that our public is looking, you know, still looking for those things, so.
And I do think that, you know, having those conversations about what the needs and desires of our population are something that potentially could be attractive to somebody that's looking at doing a project like this. We do have a lot going on this year that, you know, I think it's a great time for us. Any other questions?
No, thank you and Stephanie and staff that put a lot of time and effort in on this.
I don't have a question, but I think, Joy, you do a really good job at what you're doing, so keep doing it. Yeah, I'm running for re-election too. Thanks.
She lives in Rochester,
Yes, can't vote for that. Oh, forget it then. I'll take it back.
Next item under general business, 2018 capital equipment, replace Dismore. The Finance Committee and Public Works Committee had met and reviewed the proposed purchase for 2018, which included replacing a new idea disc mower with a larger disc mower that fits our present tractor. We have received 3 quotes. Marzoff Implement, an 8-foot 4-inch Massey for $6,749 with trade. Hamel Equipment, a 9-foot 2-inch Vermeer with $7,100 with trade. And Eisenberg, a 9-foot Deere for $9,800 with trade. Staff is recommending the 9-foot 2 Vermeer from Hamel due to the wider mower. This is also gonna be, come in very handy for pond work and everything else, is one of the reasons we're buying it. So council action requested is to approve or deny the purchase of the Vermeer disc mower from Hamel Equipment in the amount of $7,100 with trade-in. Questions or discussion?
I'll make a motion that we move forward with that purchase.
We've got a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
We've got seconds.
All over.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. That'll take us to item F, under general business, which is the resolution for the city street.
Yes, so I apologize, you don't have an RCA for it, we just, it kind of came up last minute, and the attorney just got it to us about 4:30. So, it pertains to Schuman Drive Northwest. The road was built by acquiring an easement from Mark Schuman and the Schuman Family Trust. They now have dedicated the land to the city. And so now the city needs to designate it as a roadway. Even though it is a roadway, it's in. We have to have that backup paperwork. And it is holding up the plat for WD Properties.
This is all the Peterbilt,
This
correct?
is, yeah, this is Schuman Drive, the extension of Schuman Drive. So it's just kind of some housekeeping material that we have to do to designate. So the county recognizes it as a roadway.
Do we have a motion to designate Schuman Drive Northwest as a city street?
What you're doing is you're dedicating land for a city street. That's
Dedicated
what
for a
the
city street.
resolution is.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second over here, Jeremiah. Sorry, Jeremiah, you're second on that one. Brian? Okay, other way around. We'll do it the
It
opposite.
was already typed.
All right, it's already typed. Any question or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That also carries. That'll take us on to mayor, staff, and consultant reports. Mayor's report tonight. The city of Stewartville would like to send their sympathies to the families of Ona Benson, Carolyn Davis, Doris Nord, Suzanne Piedmont, Elberna Miller, Tim Brandu, and Clarence Senst. Everybody needs to remember coming up this weekend, the 27th, 28th, is the Bear Cave Barbecue Music Fest again. If you didn't get there last year, you want to get there this year and try out the barbecues and stuff. It's going to include an outdoor movie Friday night. Saturday there'll be a fun run, a volleyball tournament, a beanbag tournament, kids games, food vendors, barbecue contest, and 3 bands. It's going to be, the weather looks like it's going to be perfect. Last year was just a little touch warm. This year looks like it's going to be just right. I guess I get to judge the barbecue again. I've learned how to do that I'm not going to eat every one of them on every plate. That's a job for Bill. But if you got the opportunity, it's a great time. Tickets are still for sale all over. I think you can get them here at City Hall yet too. Al's probably got a pocket full, Mr. Chamber over there. But don't forget, stop out, enjoy part of it anyhow, because it's going to be a great weekend. Now the library will be hosting free swimming on July 29th between noon and 1 p.m. And the dog days of summer, once again, will be out by Fairway Food out there. And that's on August 2nd from 4:30 to 6:30. If you haven't ever made it, take the time to get there. That's another place you can get a belly full right out there. We're going to have special thanks to Fairway, First Farmers, Anytime Fitness, Riverview Green, Stewartville Family Dentistry. They provide all the fun and all the food out there. And there will be root beer floats. I was out the First Farmers, and they're going to pick up the root beer float part because Bobcat, of course, isn't going to be serving them this year. So stop on out there. Get there early if you really want a hot dog, because and by 4:30 they're pretty well backed up already.
Early and stay late.
Yep. The Sears House tours are available to the public on Sundays, August 12th and 26th from 2 to 5 p.m. If you haven't been through the Sears House, through our historical society, stop in. If you get the opportunity, you'd really be surprised all the things they have in there. And we want to send the city. I went out to the picnic the other night, and they sent their thanks to us, but I want to send their thanks right back to the United Methodist Church and the Storm Group. Those kids come to town. It's the second year. It sounds like they're going to come back next year. They did a great job again. They helped residents do 85 jobs that they couldn't get done themselves. So they do a great job serving our community, and all they really ask for when they're here is work. That's all they want. So thank them, and they thanked us for being such a great community, Dick. That's all I've got. That takes us to the city administrator's report.
Reports in your packet. Just bring your attention to 3 items. 2 of them are at your desk. One is, it just shows you a progress report with regard to next year's CIP project. Sean and I were able to visit with Mr. Ware with regards to at least our plans at this time to put that street through some of his property. And so this is just to show you the progress report of what we're working on with an appraiser for an appraisal of the property, the city attorney, so that the process is followed correctly. And then obviously we really do want to work out a cordial arrangement with Mr. Ware. And so you might hear additional feedback from him, but at least it gives you a summary of what we've done so far as we continue to plan for that. And 3 main reasons, obviously, that the city's looking at is maintenance end of it's the biggest one. Infrastructure upgrades is the second one. And then to help divide up traffic are the 3 main benefits we're looking at. Sean and I and our staff, the engineering, the rest of our staff will continue to look at additional benefits for that. But those are 3 standout ones that we have right at the moment for that. So that's for your information, and then there's a map in there that shows where this property is located. There's also a map that shows what we'd like to do, which you did see in the feasibility report for the project. Second item was just a handful of information that was passed out at the most recent member meeting that People's Energy had. And they did want to make aware to our residents in our city that if you're a new member for People's, what they refer to as the SMEC members, which is the 12 co-ops that bought out the Alliant, starting in August, you will start seeing some rate adjustments. And so Elaine did bring that up at the meeting, and so it's for your benefit to know that in case you do get calls. But obviously you can direct those to People's Energy, and they can better explain those as they come in. It's going to be a graduated system, so it's not going to be immediate big jumps, but they're going to be adjustments nonetheless. And then the last item is, remember that our next meeting is Wednesday, August 15th, not Tuesday the 14th, and that's due to the state primaries that are held, and no other public meetings can be held. So just to bring your attention, the public's attention to that. That should do it.
And that meeting will be held at the fire hall because we're having the 2019 public hearing.
All right.
That should do it. Thank you.
Any questions for the administrator? All right. Thank you, Bill. Finance Director, Barb?
I got everything covered earlier. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Public Works Director, Sean?
You might see a person roaming around town wearing a Stewartville Public Works reflective outfit there. He is with WSB. Now he started our GIS. So he has been doing shoots on our structures around the area, and you'll see him 3 days a week. He'll be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It sounds like he'll be in the area doing that stuff. One other comment, we started our second round of our outlet mowing, and implementing this new ordinance in place is everybody had everything mowed and did a much better job this time around. So being a little hard-nosed with it, I think is paying off and makes it a lot easier, and they all did a great job with it. So it should make things easier going forward.
That brush top looks a little bit different, like last night than it did a month and a half ago.
It's a little better now.
Holy buckets! I didn't even know how big it was until I went out there yesterday. Yeah, that's what you guys did a nice job.
It was nice to close it down.
Is that right? And a dog park.
Did I hear that somebody caught somebody dumping trash out there?
We're never going to get rid of it totally.
No.
Yeah, I mean,
But did they get licensed? Did anything happen, or?
No, just basically they weren't actually. I was out there and caught a person I'm sure was going to, and then I was out there, so he took it and removed it from his trailer and put it in the back of his pickup. So no names or nothing, I'm not giving with that, but because he didn't actually throw it out. But we're going to be an ongoing. I still would like to find a cheap camera to get it down in price to do something out there myself. I feel that way because you're always going to have some.
We have had some citizens call in asking what they can do to help. The first comment they have is they're appreciative. You've given an extension to try to see if the new format will work out, the new layout, the new cleanup. And then they've said, well, if we catch someone, what can we do? So like the mayor pointed out at the last meeting, they obviously can approach that resident saying, hey, we don't want to wreck this system. Or if you can get a picture of a vehicle or a license plate, we'll try to process things. We can't just jump and stop and do everything to do it, but if there are occasions we can, we'll try.
The reason I caught that one when I was out there was I got a call about a gal from Rochester followed a truck down and said it was going out there, so I went out there to talk to them, and in the process, the other one came in. So people are watching it, and our citizens that are getting upset because this is going on are being a little more vigilant. So
This is probably one of the budget items you should bring up, Brent, about if you think we still need surveillance cameras and stuff
Okay.
out there. We'll talk about it at the budget meeting. And
Okay.
I think if it comes to one or the other, the cameras would be a better option than hiring someone because you don't got to pay health insurance and everything else on a camera.
Yep.
And that's one of the reasons we designated how we did the things out there, so that a camera would be able to view the entire, and we don't have areas you can drive around behind and hide to do it. Now it's all one straight line out there that hopefully would be able to.
Is the dirt disappearing out there from the pile or not?
We've got that blocked out.
It is, I was out there a week.
We actually put a gate, we're waiting until it settles up more to hang the gates, but we put a orange fence across it, and then we barricaded it with all of our compost and used that for a fence because we had the material, and then we'll let that compost down.
Okay.
So it's all totally blocked off, and unless someone cuts the fence down, but as soon as that firms up, we'll put actually gates with a lock on it.
Okay.
Any other questions for Sean? Well, you guys are doing a great job getting caught up and mowing.
Yeah,
Good. Well, we got a little dry spell, so you
doesn't
get
slow down any. Ask me that after our summer help goes back to school.
All right. All right. Any other questions for Public Works? If not, thank you. City Engineer report.
Just an update on this year's project. Underground work on 5th is complete, so we're working on firming up the roadway and bringing in sand in Class 5. They have laid out their temporary water for 12th, and pending test results, they'll be hooking up temporary water and start digging.
Any questions for City Engineer?
Are they right on schedule for 12?
They're about 4 weeks behind.
You said you're
So now,
Hope it doesn't rain anymore.
Yeah.
The contractor's been good about staying in contact with us. He works just about every day with Sean. Darren and Jenna have been working every day with Sean too to keep us updated on it. He has wanted to be here more. Some of the days that have been nice, they needed for dry out, and otherwise you're just moving mud around. And so from a staff perspective, we still feel good that they're giving an honest effort, and probably should be if some delays continue over the next month, month and a half, or month, that we might want to consider helping them out a little bit, because they've really been stick to the job. I know they've come in, what, 1 or 2 Saturdays?
If we, and they're gonna start mandatory Saturdays if there's other properties, but if we force them to mud this thing in, we're gonna have a poor product in the end. I would rather take an extra month and get a good quality product, so we're not looking at something for 30 years that we rushed to save 4 weeks. So that would be my opinion.
Any other questions for the engineer? Hearing none, we'll move on to, thank you, Jenna. On to Library Director, Pat.
My report is in your packet, and just wanted to mention that this month in July is our summer reading program. We started it in June, and it goes through the end of July. And as the mayor mentioned, the last thing for this summer reading is we're doing a free swimming time at the Stewartville pool. Some of the things we've been doing this month, everything has been based on Legos. And probably this is, as I was telling Debbie today, this has been the most inexpensive project we have ever done, and probably one of the better ones, because we've got Legos setting out on 3 tables in the library, and parents, kids, they can come in and build with them every day. And then we have a room where we have probably about 50 boxes, different sizes, from Amazon, and we emptied them out, taped them up, and they can build with those. So it's been a very interesting summer. Kids have been having a lot of fun, and it isn't costing a lot of money to do it. We did have a program which was paid through the Supple Legacy money, and that was Jason Junke, and it was a juggling program. We had a very large attendance, and thank you to Mark for the story and the pictures that you took for that. And that was all included when we sent our report into Supple. And next month, August 21st, the library board meets for Dick, so you know. Because otherwise I have no way of contacting you usually.
Did you guys have like a push to get new patrons? Like 43 out of the city alone seems like a lot this month.
That was really, when I looked at that, I had to look at it a couple of different times, and it says, yes, it truly was. I think a lot of it is, we have a lot of people who, are new in town, we have people who
Get paid for that one.
come from Rochester. And if you live in southeast, southwest Rochester, it's easier to come to our library.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And so, we're very happy about that.
All right, any other questions for Pat? If not, thank you.
Thank you.
Fire chief, not tonight. Committee commission board reports, Chamber of Commerce. Mr. Chamber?
I think just thank everybody again for the July 4th celebration. We had a wonderful event.
You did, pulled off another good one. Way to go, guys. EDA, HRA, you got the minutes of the July 17th meeting in there. Anything to add to that, Craig?
I don't think so.
Finance?
Oh, we did a community survey. Do you want to?
We could go.
You want me to present on that?
Could you recap?
You want her to come to the finance meeting and present that, Craig? Finance, minutes of July 18th in there. Anything to add to that?
Just a reminder about the workshop coming up.
Yep. Library,
Meeting coming up,
what day?
21st of August.
All right. Park board,
That's in their meeting on August 13th.
anything new and exciting we should know about?
No,
Anything old under old business we should know about?
not since last meeting.
Are you guys going to continue to ask for more money every single year in each budget?
Well, why not?
Good answer.
Good answer.
They just heard that parks were one of the big amenities people like around here. So that gives you credence to fund away.
Personnel, nothing at this time. Planning and zoning,
We met, 2 weeks ago? Approved the final plat, and that was, before last meeting, so that was nothing.
all right. Public safety, Mike, do you have anything?
No report, reminder, August 7th, National Night Out, so still time to register your event. And if you're looking for a good laugh, stop over at our social media page.
Just going to tell you, there should be a video you should be showing tonight, but I don't recall seeing you in it.
It's really cool.
It is good. I saw that right for a game.
I don't know that good is technically the word to describe it. I mean, there's adjectives for it.
It's good. I think the Rochester Department should do it now.
We would, but we're fighting crime, Barb.
Thank you for saying that. That's exactly what I thought when I saw it.
Everybody in order, so they can do
Exactly. Are you getting a list of parties? Are they-
Careful driving home tonight, Craig.
How many we got so far?
I believe 7.
Okay.
Going back to that video quick though, that's gotten a ton of positive comments and views. Wasn't it just posted like on a Sunday night?
Yeah,
I think the next morning Terry Walensky was saying they had 20,000 views by midnight that night, so it's pretty crazy.
Just kind of goes to show social media, with the city getting on board and putting out events, and it reaches everyone. That's what everyone is looking at as far as getting their news today.
All right, thank you. Public Works?
No.
Nothing? ROCOG?
No report?
Stu, 180, nothing on that happening? Transit Advisory Committee? I don't think there's anything. Communications, you get the SEMLM July 2018 in there, it's gonna be at Kellogg. Is there still time to sign up?
Yeah.
I believe so. Check with Laurel if you wanna get going there. Open mic. City Council welcomes and encourages participation from community members. Please keep in mind that your comments must be pertinent to city business and must adhere to the data privacy rules. No employee's name may be used. Please do not expect action from the council this evening regarding your concerns. We also request that your comments be limited to 4 minutes. Speakers will be recognized only once. At this time, we would ask that anyone who would like to address the city council to please step up to the podium and state your name and address. Hearing none, that takes us to the last motion of the evening.
I'm interested in making a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn's been made. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned.